Hi there, it's Dan from Lovecore and the Armoring Arts. What I'm thinking is I'd like to talk about the difference between the two trainings that I run. One is called Body, Sound and Breath as one, and the other one is called Deepen Your Presence. Both are advanced bodywork trainings, but actually, yes, bodywork is involved, but actually it's almost like not necessary to be a bodyworker to benefit from those trainings, and I'll tell you why in a minute. So, Body, Sound and Breath as one is a training which focuses on looking at the connection between physical reality, which is body, and its pressure points, its trigger points, its ways of activating energy through pressing on a specific points on the body, on the whole body. So looking at that side of humanity, and then looking at how do I become intimate with myself. How do I get to know myself? That's what it means. How do I get closer to myself? Intimate means close. So, because physicality is a vibration, it has a frequency. Sound can vibrate matter, we know that. And so, if I can combine understanding where to touch the body and what goes on under where I'm touching in terms of dynamics, energy, emotions, mindset, whatever, we can get into that in a training. But if I know that, and then I can match the frequency that that part of the body resonates at, making a sound, actual woof, or whatever the sound is going to be, it's always different. It's not singing, it's not pretty, it's just frequency matching. And using my breath to intensify, direct, and send in, I suddenly have a very efficient way of working with the person, working with the client, or with myself, in releasing, softening, and opening, dissolving hard tissue armor, blockages, energetic blockages, super fast. So the reason I call it Body, Sound and Breath as one is because it's actually one system. It's all body, it's physicality, breath, sound and body, it's actually one. And then also we have an added element which is reading the body. What does this body tell me? The way it's constructed, the way it moves, the way the muscular structure is designed, the way it smells, the way it kind of feels. This is all signs that I need to know how to read so that I can connect with a person deeper. And so the Body, Sound and Breath as one training is an 8-day training. At the end of it, you are going to have a very, very good understanding of yourself. We do quite a lot of meditation to really connect with myself through using my breath, using my sound, and really making friends on a as subtle a level as I can within 8 days. We can't do much, but we can cut quite deep in. Touch myself as deeply as I can, and then focus that on my client, on the person I'm working with or person I'm talking to. Instantly, the depth of connection is so much deeper, so much more real, so much more human, normal, very connected and heartfelt. And then within that space, life can happen. And so the trust is there, the friendship is there, the connection is there, and then you can either have an amazing bodywork session, or you can just have an amazing conversation with someone, or create a relationship. So at the base level, we can say that the Body, Sound and Breath training helps people to connect with themselves first, and then to extend that connection horizontally into the world with people. When I say horizontally, I mean with people in the world. And then Deepen Your Presence training is working on a similar way of connecting with oneself using different tools. Here we do a huge amount of meditation, silence, energy work, and work with elements, 5 elements, to create that connection with ourselves. And once we are connected as deeply as we can to ourselves, we then start vertically extending that connection to what I call God. You can call it whatever you want, it's not a religious thing. Just raising the frequency of my perception and surrendering this ego mind called Dhyana to God, to high mind, to the great I am, to whatever you want to call it, your God, your highest perception of what that may be, the creator. And the reason I do it is we're not alone. You know, we come from there and we return there, and they're there. I mean, the team, the helpers, the energies, it's fascinating amazingness of stuff. If I can surrender myself to it and then connect with the client in a session, suddenly my client and I are not alone. Both of us invite a possibility of magic and mysticism to happen, to occur. And there is a vastly greater intelligence residing up there than it is in my head or in my being, in my body. I'm nothing. Then Matuka is a tiny little crystallized fraction of actual Dhan. So if I can surrender myself to my higher self and then approach my client, I have a much better chance of being a successful session giver. And the session can take direction that I as Dhan Matuka couldn't possibly even fathom to think about, let alone actually do. So the most successful sessions in working with people is when I am not present, when I just surrender. Relax, surrender. Obviously there is a lot of processes that I need to go through in order to do that effectively, but simply saying, I let go of myself and I invite the great I am to come through and then approach life from that perspective. So Deepen Presence is a training where we spend days and days and days, first of all, connecting to ourselves as deeply as we can, letting go of ourselves and inviting the great I am to come through. Essentially surrender work, surrendering the ego, surrendering I know better, I've been trained, you know, I'm 56, you're 20, I know better, blah blah blah. Surrendering all that to the mystery of life, to the mystery of the great I am. And the deeper I can do that with a honest, heartfelt intent, humbleness, humble intent, the deeper I can actually channel that into my client, and not channel that into, but be present with my client. This is why it's called Deepen Presence, because my presence deepens through that process of surrender. And so when I connect with my client, I'm infinitely more connected, useful as a session giver than if I operate and work from Mr. Dhan Matuka, know-it-all ego guy, you know, with all the knowledge, this big. The I am, this big. So this is the essential difference between the body, sound and breath as one and Deepen Presence. And I feel both of those are actually kind of the same. You know, we connect with ourselves, we get as deeply intimate with ourselves, and then Deepen Presence, I see connection up and down, and body, sound and breath, I see the connection horizontally with other people. So I think both of those are necessary as if you contemplate it to be a serious body worker or working with people in any capacity actually. I feel both of those are very good. So hope this is useful, and if you have any questions or comments, write it below, get in touch, and I'll do my best to answer. Until then, ciao for now.